let me get my glasses on. I can't hear or see without my glasses. All right, we're going to call this meeting to order, the Montyville Regional Planning Commission meeting for November the 2nd. I'd like to welcome Ed Provost, our newest member of this illustrious group.
Thank you.
Let's do a roll call here. I'm here. Richard Black.
Here.
Janet is not here. Ed.
Here.
Doreen. Here. Peter.
Here.
Marilyn is not here. And that's it, right? And we have a quorum. Got it? All right, we'll call it order. Approval of previous meeting minutes. Everyone got their packet in the email and had a chance to peruse it. Was there any corrections to our minutes?
I did not see it. I make a motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Second by Ed. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right. Approval of previous meeting minutes. Staff and community reports. Looks like we have no staff approved plat reports. On to the Earls Show.
I don't have anything to report.
Excuse me?
We have questions about something I might be able to advise you on.
Oh, questions you say. Okay, very good.
I assume we're gonna talk about the body shop
Yes.
in the agenda.
All right, moving on to new business. Van Hooser, final plat review. I believe Mr. Childers is here. We're gonna go on to that.
It's at the Realty King, 2.5 acre pre-lot.
All right, it looks like it has all of the signatures here. Garrett, everything meets your approval?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and the only thing that we are looking for is the signature, is that correct? From our secretary, who is not here, but she will be here on the 9th, she said.
Okay, so if this is approved, we can bring it by tonight.
That is correct. So any discussion on this? We have, Garrett has, all good? We have all of our signatures, so we just take a vote on approval of the final plat, is that correct, Garrett?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the changes and with the signatures on the site map.
Okay. Need a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any no's? All right. We're good to go.
Just leave that all with y'all.
Leave that with us, and as soon as Janet gets back from vacation, then we'll get those signed and we'll let you know when it's ready.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. All right, let's move on to B, zoning map amendment, lakeside collision. Garrett.
That will be.
Anya. What?
This will be me.
You wanna do Anya? Or we'll do Paul?
I'm here for Christian Ojeda, who apparently his wife had some sort of medical thing. He met me in the parking lot and said he had to get out of here quick. He thinks that the issue that is before you is a proposed rezoning from C3 to C2. The way I read Sam Elliott's email from a month or so ago, that the city was proposing either a rezoning or a change, some landscape screening, and his preference apparently is the change in zoning, and he thinks that's what's on the agenda for this afternoon. And if that is the case, then he's all in favor of it. If there's more to it, and then the remaining issues, as he told me, come up, on the 15th of this month. So if it's a matter of, you deciding whether or not to rezone from C3 to C2, he's in favor of that. That's about all I can say right now.
All right, so this starts the process. I know that you and the city are working through the 3 things that will satisfy, am I correct?
Yes.
And this is a part of that component.
Correct.
And so by doing this step and moving that along to the next step while you guys negotiate those 3 steps.
Okay, I'm not following.
I don't know, that's between y'all. Yes, Gary?
Hopefully clarify.
Okay,
So the 3 items were the BZA hearing on the 15th to determine the fence screening material.
Correct.
This rezoning to address the landscape screening to satisfy both parties. And
Oh, I'm sorry, this rezoning to satisfy.
this landscape screening, the rezoning from from C3 to C2. it
Or
eliminates-
in the alternative, a landscape screening.
Correct.
Okay.
And so the last item would be essentially what he stated, instead of submitting a revised site plan, he said he would have a letter drafted that he would increase the 5-foot street yard that was not approved to a 10-foot street yard.
I'm satisfied that, I'm satisfied I can represent that he is, in agreement with exactly what you said. So what I'm getting at is, have we accomplished anything by coming to it?
This will be one of those 3 items.
Oh,
yes.
it's real
Oh,
simple.
okay.
It's real simple.
Okay.
Let this body right here make a determination of changing that zoning.
Yeah,
And then that starts the process, and that eliminates some of the screening, some of the landscaping he would have to do if he remained in the zoning he's in now.
okay, I understand.
And that takes care of that.
If that's what we're here for,
Yeah.
to get that, step of it approved, as far as the rezoning is concerned, and so if I'm understanding this correctly, what's happening right now is, this board is approving the change from C3
They're
to C2.
making a recommendation to city council to rezone,
Okay,
and that's what, and it'll take 2 more readings, it'll take 2 readings from city council to do it. But this starts the process to rezone. Now, the fence is the big issue,
I understand
and
that,
that's BZA, and that's gonna be, we're gonna look at that on the 15th.
and I understand that that's not on the table right now.
yeah, this starts the process of the solution.
Okay.
Isn't there a
But
stipulation?
but step number 1 is accomplished, as far as the recommendation is concerned.
Correct.
Not yet.
Not yet. Isn't there a stipulation, Garrett, that he owns some more property there, that it also be rezoned to C2?
Right, that was included in our recommendation.
Just wanna make sure that's make sure that's clear.
So the request was.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Will you explain?
Clarify. The request was for just the parcel for the new development.
Correct.
In our recommendation, and essentially, in our opinion, that would create a version of spot zoning, and to eliminate that question, we'd also like his existing business, which is directly adjacent to it, it's the exact same land use, to also be rezoned in this request. That's what we're recommending, or will be recommending to the planning commission.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yes, but I'm still trying to understand what the posture of things is. Has this, board agreed at this point to make the recommendation to the city or not, or is that gonna be done tonight? That's what-
We are, we are now on B, which is what we're trying to do right now. We're on B, which is what we're trying to do right now.
Okay, so I take it you're gonna vote on whether or not to make the recommendation?
Correct.
Okay. I'm just trying to get the procedural posture here.
You're here to represent your client, to present the request, then we'll give our review.
Correct.
And then they'll make the recommendation.
Correct, okay.
All right, Garrett,
So,
Anya,
yeah, hi, I'm Anya, and I'm gonna be the new staff there, Monty Gold, but it's gonna be a slower transition, so you don't have to leave Garrett.
Oh, grab that microphone, make sure,
Maybe.
yes, there we go.
Okay, so our staff recommends that if you're gonna change one of those parcels, to also change the other one that he owns. And so we would recommend rezoning it from C3 to C2 just subject to that other parcel, because then it would be more of a smooth transition from the C1 zoning or C3 zoning into C1, so it wouldn't be seen as spot zoning. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
So, I believe that is what our board has agreed with as well. On the discussion. So when we do our recommendation, that is your recommendation. Okay. And Paul, do you understand what we're asking, what that means?
I do at this point, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Board, I need a motion.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, absolutely.
One of the items listed here is also the 10 feet on the street yard. What is the status on that?
So
Is that included tonight, or is
no,
that?
that's not being considered tonight, that's just
Okay.
another one of the conditions, that the
All right.
town requires a 10-foot street yard.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, this has been a long process.
I'm aware of it.
I will say that he's fine by that,
Okay.
when the time comes to make a decision on it.
We're trying to find a solution for Christian. All right, so right now, we are taking the step for this recommendation for the solution, and it's to rezone the property, both properties, from C3 to C2. And that is from the recommendation of our planning, our state planner. All right, so I need a motion. Did that satisfy?
I'll make a motion to change the rezoning from C3 to C2 for the subject property and the adjacent property that is owned by the landowner.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in,
Note to council that he informed this gentleman that he is getting both properties changed.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
excellent. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, Paul, you good?
I am, I think I'm up to speed on.
All right, very
I can
good.
report back to you.
Thank you, sir.
We need to get a
Thank
sign
you.
put up, soon as the public hearing's announced.
All right, very good. They have made a date on the public, no, they have not made a date on the public hearing. Is that included on
I think it's in that,
that 15th,
I
wasn't
think
it?
they've done that, they're gonna, well, no, we,
Then that, no.
there's only specific items that you, or the
That's
special-
right.
Special call meeting.
So this is the next,
Right, if my information's correct, it'll be in December.
okay. Woo, all right, very good. Number C, zoning ordinance amendment. This is a new one.
Yeah, so this was actually, I sent out the agenda packet and then I got a phone call and this agenda item was put on here. So I've spoken with various town staff members and I've understood that there are specific properties in town that hotels and motels are being looked at. And so the town, from my understanding, is looking at increasing the building height on there was requested to be included on a review basis. And so the way I address this in your agenda packet, if it's the updated version, I've included an ordinance amendment that would allow for an increased building height in C1, 2, and 3 commercial zonings, as well as industrial zonings. And I will read you exactly what it states, just one second. So it actually amends chapter 4, section 401. It's the graph that gives all the dimensional regulations for C1, 2, and 3, as well as I1. And basically it adds a double asterisk over the maximum building height, and it states, the actual amendment states that building height may be increased as a special exception per section 1107 of this ordinance. Developments that exceed the maximum established height, which is 3 stories or 40 feet in all these districts, shall provide adequate fire suppression in the event that reciprocating fire protection is unavailable. Property owners/developers shall understand the risk that this increase in building height causes in the event of a fire. That's my proposed language. I understand that this can go to the council and it can be massaged in any way that needs to be. This is just the way I understood the request from the town. That makes sense? Do you have any questions?
So currently, our ordinance says that it's 3 feet, 3 stories, is that correct? Is it
Three stories are 40 feet,
40 feet?
that's max.
And so they're wanting, it would go to BZA for it to be, or upon review, how does
Be a
it?
special exception.
Plan commission actually do that, but
It'd actually be the BZA jurisdiction.
Okay, so for a special exemption
That would be the review process that the town would have.
for more than 3 stories?
Correct, so yeah, so if a hotel or motel wanted to go to 4 or over 40 feet.
Is there any, like, top level, or that's just gonna
There-
be?
There's no maximum written in,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying, there can be a maximum set if you'd like to. I mean, the building heights, the 3 stories or 40 feet, say in the C3 zone, that could be set at 4 stories or 50 feet. It can be changed, I just wanted to get this on the agenda to
Sure.
actually have a discussion about it. This is what I thought of quickly at the last minute,
now,
which seems to adequately address
try to
that.
remember this too, any of this kind of work, the fire marshal's office has to review the plans, and they will be the ones that'll have to tell everybody what kind of fire protection will have to be required for whatever number.
I think 3 stories is the limit to stairs, is it not? Don't you have to go to elevator on the 4th floor? I think the code requires that.
Right, I included the language about the reciprocating coverage in case the town's ladder
It
trucks
was-
can't reach
yeah,
that
it
height.
moves into different, like you said, it moves into a different jurisdiction.
I like elevators.
That's better than 3 sets of stairs, aren't they?
And I'm assuming that there are hotels that are looking in our area that are wanting more stories. That is why it's coming up.
So I've heard.
Okay. Well, change, embrace change, right? Any questions?
I would think the biggest restriction would be the fire. The equipment that's here couldn't handle that, like big ladder trucks.
Oh,
Standpipes and pumps, yeah.
right, fire.
But, I mean, if somebody was gonna build knowing that, they would be at risk.
Right, that's what I wanted with the disclaimer, basically stating that knowing anything above 3 stories or 40 feet, there is the inherent risk of limited fire protection.
Which would obviously impact their insurance and funding and a lot of things, so.
Okay. Earl, any other things that you could think of that?
I just think it'll be a very good thing. I think it gives the BZA board or a body of non-equal citizens an opportunity to make a change on something, immediately that could be of great benefit for the town.
Sure.
That's the purpose.
I think it's great.
I don't see the downside of the city.
Mhm.
It'd be up to the
That's the
I mean,
purpose.
if you chose to pass this tonight and it go to the town council, that might be the forum to actually make sure that the town's addressing all of the fire safety standards. And it can always come back to the planning commission for further review.
And that would be, where would, hotels are on C3?
All of them.
All of them.
C1, C2, C3, and
And
I
industrial.
C2 and C,
All Cs.
All
and I.
Cs.
all the cities.
All Cs?
And industrial.
I mean, why not?
Okay. So we need to make a recommendation.
Sure, you need to make a motion or table it to December for further discussion, however you see fit.
Is your recommendation unlimited on height? And based it on them to modify it, or?
I could definitely, we could table it until December and come up with a maximum height.
I think the fire marshal's ought to tell you how.
Absolutely.
System equipment, what to happen.
The next step's 8 floors, 4 and 8, and the fire marshal controls all that.
I mean, I'd defer any of that to you anyway.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, I think it just gets passed tonight.
I move we accept their explanation.
Ed seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? All right, we've moved it forward. Okay. Any hearing of persons having business before the commission? That would be Mr. Lay. Come on forward, sir.
Thank you.
Are you building an 8-story hotel next to
No.
Clifftop, sir?
What I'm here to inquire about is, I'm representing Monaco Development and Mr. Joe Lester, property that's, about 15 acres where Sonic is there. And he is, talking with a group of investors that has taken an option on property, and part of their issue is they want, if they present a site plan to the city, it's my understanding it's 14 days prior to you guys' meeting, is that still the issue that they're fearful of is, since it's the holiday season, one party or both is wanting to close prior to December 31st on the property. And of course, that means they've got to do their due diligence and get that up here, before actually your next meeting is like the 1st of December or something, so that may not happen. So what Joe is asking is if the planning commission is willing to have a meeting before December the 31st, but after your December the 1st meeting, if it clears the hurdles for the site plan, and that's a stipulation, that they're currently looking at a couple of sites, and Mount Eagle's in the final cut, but one of the contingencies is it would close on or before December 31st. Now, it's up to them to get their site plan and whatever's required to you, or whomever, 14 days before you meet. But if they're not gonna make the December 1st or December 2nd or whatever it is, but they feel like they could make, the December 20th or the December 26th, or that date would be forthcoming. And is there a willingness for the planning commission to meet prior to December the 31st, if everything is in order and there's a recommendation that it meets everything, that you guys then would meet at a special call meeting or whatever, and approve the site plan?
What's our, when we have a special called meeting, what is the, publicize, what is our requirements for that, Gary?
Well, I think it would all hinge on the 14 days for the site plan. About the whole time you're talking, I was thinking, the special called meeting, it can only hear specific agenda items that are identified.
Right.
So I'm thinking we would have to have essentially the site plan as soon as possible, and I guess whenever we get that after the December meeting, the town could schedule a special called meeting 14 days out, or 15 days out, however that lines up.
Yes.
That way you meet both requirements.
We're assuming the developer is gonna do their due diligence and have that information, and then all that's gonna fall in line, and then after you guys look at it and say it meets the requirements, then, assuming that date allows the publication for a special call meeting, then you guys, what I wanna know, is there a willingness that y'all would do that if all the stars line up and all that happens, or if you're saying, no, our next meeting after December, whatever it is gonna be January, whatever it is.
Commissioners, you up for it?
Our next meeting is December the 7th,
Okay.
first Tuesday of the month. So, 2 weeks after that's Christmas.
Mhm. Well, and a lot of
So,
times,
I
as it
mean-
gets close to Christmas, when there's meetings scheduled, in the past, they're always canceled until January. And I told them that, I said, over the years, there's been many meetings canceled, after the 10th or 12th of December into January. And so, Joe said, I can't come up there tonight, can you go ask and see what the planning commission is, willing to do or not do, and, because there's no need in, going any further if because they will not be able to have it by December the 7th.
Okay, but would he want it in December at all, or does he
Yes,
want it in January?
No,
He does not want January.
Well, he says, that they've got to close on the property before December 31st. In order to do that, they've got to know, the developer's got to know that they have an approved site plan. And they know, they've done this before with other planning commissions, and said they know the site plan regulations and they're okay with all that. They're just fearful that after your December 7th meeting, you're not gonna meet until whatever the first Monday of January is.
Right.
January 4th.
Okay, and so they missed the deadline, so Mont Eagle's out, and if it doesn't meet the criteria and doesn't get approval, then that's not on anybody except the developer. So, which is right,
I mean, I personally am willing to work with you, but, board,
I think we all
Can you walk me through that a little bit? You need to get this 14 days prior to our next meeting, or when we schedule this meeting, correct? But they need turnaround time. How much turnaround time do you need?
14 days is the deadline. That
Alright.
gives us,
So really, it falls on you to get that site plan and a complete site plan so we can digest it
right by
To
December
them,
8th, I would say.
in a timely manner before we have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I
and
was,
certainly the deadline would be the 15th of December, or 16th of December.
that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, we're gonna be here New Year's Eve. Yeah.
I'd say you need to have it as quick as you can.
Well,
Yeah.
and they're in agreement with that, and they're working on a proposed preliminary, and I told them that in the past, they can contact the planner and start the conversation and dialogue, and then, but they say they've done this several times in other locations, and I said, well, you really need to.
well, let's be realistic, all right, so the state shuts down for an entire month in December during the holidays. Are you taking vacation? All right, when's your vacation?
I don't know yet.
Okay, so if vacations, when are you taking
I
vacation?
want to make
Christmas to New Year's. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Well, you can have a problem.
And we gotta work around that.
I think we're all willing, but it's gonna have to be time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Okay, and they understand that, that's why they want to see, if there's a willingness.
There is a
to-
willingness.
there's a
to do that,
willingness.
But we also have to be able to get a quorum, and other
Yeah.
people are out of
Oh, yeah,
town and
yeah.
all that
Could
stuff.
we,
Yeah.
if we heard, if they had a plan in by the 10th of December, could we not communicate and come up with an effort to get together?
Absolutely.
And I think that's very reasonable, and they.
That
they
gives them to
right.
Christmas Eve, that means
Yeah,
it would be between Christmas and New Year's that we would do
Right.
that.
Right, it'd probably be the week after Christmas,
Yeah.
after the meeting.
and then the planning commission's done everything that it can to accommodate a proposed development.
Sure.
All right, but I wanna be realistic though, I mean, people go on vacation Christmas to New Year's as well.
I understand that, but the
So-
world doesn't stop turning.
Sometimes it does, I just.
No, it doesn't.
There's,
Y'all like to think it does, but it does not.
I'm here
Does
for
he
you,
live in
Dean.
Miami?
We are here for you,
But it's not me, I mean, it's kinda like Earl mentioned earlier, it's, some of these things you're doing is a benefit to the community and the people in the community, and that's what you're here for.
100%.
That's why we'll meet.
And we'll meet.
And that's what you said is very reasonable, and I think what you say, the 10th of.
I did, and his hands by the 10th, and I don't wanna speak to everybody here, but if we're comfortable with that, at least we could move on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just a gentleman's agreement that it's the 10th, and I don't know what all's involved in that, but I had to, got a last minute call to run up here and see, because they were concerned about the holidays and the world stopped turning, and the state
The
and the
whole
city
states
planning
are-
commission take a vacation.
30 days to do a site plan, is plenty of time.
Yes,
One question, what type of development is it? That'll probably impact review.
it's hospitality, okay.
Okay. And two, if they do schedule on the 24th and they can't get a quorum, would that kill their deal to purchase the property?
He just said that, in order for them to close on the deal, they have to close it, before December 31st on the property deal. And they know their due diligence has to have a site plan approved, and they wanna know. And I told him, I said, hey, they're meeting, tonight, because he said today, he said, when's the planning commission? I said, they meet tonight. He said, okay. And I said, then they'll meet the first Monday in December, which is usually, I said, usually the 3rd or 4th, Pearl Harbor Day.
December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day.
But anyway,
Sure.
ball back in their court. After what you guys have said, I think the ball is back in their court.
Or what if they table it a month, or what if they deny it, cause it's not
Well,
reviewed, cause everybody's out of town,
yeah.
if an engineer's out of town.
Then, like I said, the developer's got another option, they can go somewhere else.
Sure.
So,
And the quality of the site plan will be important, I think.
yes.
Okay.
Well, and that's why I told them they need to establish a dialogue with you guys, and I'm assuming they're gonna do that in the next week or so. And then, and they say they've done site plans on their other locations, so it shouldn't be something that jumps up and bites them.
I think the key would be prepping with our state planners
Yeah, I
right,
think so.
right now.
Yeah.
I would
Quick.
suggest, just right off the cuff here, that the minute that site plan is ready, whenever it's gone to, and at that particular time, maybe we need to advertise for a special call meeting in 14 days. And then if it don't get ready, cancel the meeting. That way everybody's.
Sounds good.
But I would advise
Good
them,
point.
before the site plan is ready, for them to be prepping with these guys.
Yeah, I've already said,
Yeah.
I think that's what they should do, and
Yes.
I'm assuming, just a phone conversation will be coming, this week, probably, just as an introduction, and kinda, if there's some kinda, punch list or something, or just the ordinance itself,
From the property owner?
well, the developer.
Okay.
Who's proposing to buy the property.
Okay.
And has an option to buy, but it's contingent on, and then like I said, in 45 years of being in business, usually after Thanksgiving, you can forget about doing anything.
Like I said, Tennessee shuts down, man.
Well, and it's not just vacations, but with a lot of people, it's deer hunting and all this other stuff too, of course,
Christmas shop.
yeah,
Ball's in their court.
yeah,
We'll
okay,
look at it.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean.
Thanks, Dean. All right, anybody else? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Should I go up to the?
Yep, come on up.
My name's Max Horatio. My brother and I own the farm behind Ace Hardware and Dollar General. So it came to my attention recently that the contractor that was rebuilding the barn that we were having did not pull the correct permits. So I wanted to apologize for that. They just pulled a pole barn permit instead of what we were trying to do, even though I submitted all the plans to them. They didn't follow through on that, so I need to meet with someone about that and how to remedy that situation so that going
Earl,
forward.
Earl's your new best friend, yeah.
We'll get together, in there too, whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand, I've heard rumors that that's gonna be an event center down there. Is that,
It's gonna be, you know Granddaddy's farm?
do what?
Granddaddy's farm off the mountain?
I do not.
It's like an agritourism, kids come and they get to do things on the
Well,
farm.
that's true, but now, we might have a zoning issue with anything other than, anything to do with agriculture. I'm just what I'm afraid of. I've been thinking about that.
I feel like I spoke with somebody sometime last year about having a zoning on that property.
We need to look at
Off
that.
of Yukon.
That
Yeah.
property's not zoned for that particular kind of event, I don't think, but you and I can talk about it,
Alright.
but it might be having something, have to come back to this body
Okay.
about the
And
zoning.
that brings up the other point. When we bought the property, we were under the impression that it was agricultural, but it had been recently rezoned to commercial. So currently we're living on the other side of Tracy City, running a farm there and a farm here, and it's about a 40-minute commute back and forth constantly. We would like to relocate in this direction. My dream would be to have it rezoned agriculture, but I know you guys don't currently have any agricultural zoning for the township of Mont Eagle.
We fought that battle.
I thought they did that last year or year before last.
Well, they changed it so that if I had a certain amount of acreage, I could.
That is what, I know the zoning has changed for some crazy
Yeah,
reason.
and the current
It was
language, I don't know
commercial, and then
exactly.
I thought they made agriculture.
I thought so too.
We amended the land uses allowed in C2 zone.
Is that what it was?
For properties over 50 acres.
And so like, if you look at the letter of the law and the language, the way I interpret it, as I've been looking into it, it's more for row cropping than what I'm actually doing. So I think I'm actually violating the rules.
Just keep that calm.
Alright.
And I love the Granddaddy Eats Farm idea, I think it's fantastic, but yeah, I'm sure you're breaking something.
Well, I like seeing the cows there instead of metal buildings.
Yeah,
So I don't know how we could get the ball rolling, or if there's any possibility of rezoning agriculture.
I think you and Earl talking will be the first step.
Yep.
If you wanna send me an email with your ideas and plans, we can talk about it further.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And thank you for being honest.
yeah, we love it,
We're friendly
thanks.
to it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, Mary, appreciate it. Yes, Jim?
I just have a question. As you'll know, you may have received a report, a hydrological study from me. But I had done that study on the basis of the site plan that was submitted to this commission and approved by this commission. But I've noted visually that the construction taking place on the RDTA property is not consistent with the site plan that you approved. And my question is, have they submitted a new site plan for your approval, and has it been approved?
No, I have not received a site plan, but I did get your report today. I just have not had time to read it, I'll be honest with you. I did pull it up today.
Yeah, well, I wasn't asking you to
No, I'm just telling you.
respond to that. I would just, my report was, my analysis was based on the ponds that were designed by Sadler and Associates and the inverts that they had specified on those drawings, and they are no longer that way.
Earl, any feedback on that?
I'm not.
No comment,
No.
all right.
Couldn't tell you what an invert or an outward was, or any of that. Only thing I know to do, would be if the city wants to hire a third party, engineer to check it, that'd probably be what needs to happen, because I'm not qualified to do that.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna need that anyway.
You know, on this part.
Anybody here qualified to go look at the site and see that it's done to
Well, city's got an engineer, I mean, they may just have to, he may be the guy to have to do it. You know, if it's gonna be required, that's not my call. And that'd be your engineer, and, you know, that'd be, like you say this, and he says that, you know,
Well, I would suggest that, since TDEC issued a permit, what do you call it, S-Water or something like that, for them, that they need to comply with the site plan that was submitted to TDEC, and the construction deviates from that now. And I'm just questioning, have they submitted a new site plan? You say they haven't. So they're in violation of their permit with TDEC. That should be of a concern to the town planners, I would think.
Garrett, does that fall under, our, what word am I looking for?
Jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction, yeah, thank you.
We could reach out to TDEC and see if they've had anybody inspected recently. That's about as much as we can do, as I can do.
I mean, does that fall under our
I think
jurisdiction?
we should do that. I think we need to have them inspect that as often as we can make that.
Has anybody made a complaint about it for us? I know they track their complaints.
Not that I'm aware of. That's really not my thrust. My thrust is planning commission approved a site plan for a development in the town of Mont Eagle, which is being developed totally different. Is
To
there
my
any
knowledge,
concern?
I have not gotten a new site plan, and I wouldn't know if it's deviated from it if I did get one.
There's been no new site plan presented, that I know.
there's not.
Is the deviation dealing with the stormwater retention?
Yes.
That's gonna be, federal, I mean,
TDEC, yeah.
the stormwater permits are issued by the feds.
Sorry, point of difference, TDEC issues the SWEP permits, and that's what they're currently working under, it's the TDEC SWEP permit. And they only go through until the final construction, once the construction is over, TDEC is out.
Right,
Well,
but that's gonna, they'll have to leave that stormwater, all that in place in the inspection process and everything else, all the way through the end of the project.
Right, another point of information is every TDEC inspection is found with an NOV so far to date. He actually had one where he was considered in compliance, but if you look at the notes, it notes things that are not completed yet. So I don't know if you really consider that in compliance, but if you go to the TDEC website and look under the water permitting, he's had notice of violations. It started in April of 20, and he's been continually in violation since then.
Maybe we need to email or ask Sam about that.
Alright, so I can email, I believe her name is
Jennifer Ennis.
And,
Natalie Langford.
right, I can reach out to them, Natalie's the inspector, correct? So I can reach out to them, see if they've had anything recently, if there's any complaints filed, forward that information on to you all. But I believe it would be either the town's attorney or the town council that have to call in the section actually invoking penalties on the property. I don't think the planning commission has the jurisdiction to do that.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, I just make a final remark to this commission that, in my opinion, as an engineer, having done the study on the original site plan, the revisions that have been made in construction on the RBT tract still will result in pollution of Laurel Lake. Thank you.
So noted.
Alrighty, any other business before the commission? Alrighty, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So be it. Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much.